What's up, guys? Welcome back to Life in Between. If you noticed, I recorded the first video just to introduce what the YouTube channel is all about. Essentially this, a lot of people I kind of see Sunday to Sunday, and there's a lot of life that happens in between Sunday to Sunday, and just really wanted to find a way to be able to connect with people, have conversations with people. So that's what this YouTube channel is all about. So if you would subscribe, maybe share it with some friends, feel free to comment because it's how we will interact with each other. So if you notice, I posted the first video like 2 weeks ago, and then I kind of disappeared for 2 weeks. That was intentional, which seems kind of not good when you're starting a YouTube channel, but I took 2 weeks of rest. I took a 2-week vacation, which I've never done before in all of my working life. The most I've ever done is maybe like 6 days at a time, which feels long enough, but we wanted to do something a little bit different. So we did 2 weeks. For 1 week, we went down to Myrtle Beach and hung out with the family. And the second week, we just hung around the house, which was really cool. My wife got to go hang out with some friends, kind of stayed the night somewhere, hung out, had a good time. I got to hang out with the kids. We kind of did some projects around the house. But it was rest. And that's what I want to talk about today is rest. Because in our culture, rest is like it's like a 4-letter word, the not so good kind of 4-letter words. It's frowned upon in our culture. We prefer words like hustle and relentless and grind, and we kind of celebrate those kind of words in our culture, and we celebrate those kind of people, and we kind of hold that up on a platform. And so in turn, you have people who are striving to do those things, and I don't think those things are bad. In fact, I love those things, and I appreciate those things. And when someone demonstrates those qualities, I like that. But we do it at the neglect of rest all the time. And rest is so important. And resting is different for everybody. In fact, resting is a little difficult. It's difficult for me, if I'm being honest, because I know I need physical rest. And like even in exercise and working out, like I physically rest because I know that that's going to do good for me in the long run. It's going to allow my body to repair. It's going to allow my body to heal itself. All things that really need to happen. And yet somehow, some way, we forget that along the way. And so I do that physically, but I struggle to do that mentally. In fact, oftentimes it seems the times that I'm physically resting are the times I seem to rest the least mentally. It's almost like I create this space for my mind to just go crazy. I struggle because I seem to always be thinking about what's next, what's the future. And I struggle to kind of sit in a moment and to rest in that moment. Like, for instance, maybe you get this laying in bed at night. For a lot of people, laying in bed at night is like not a very restful activity because it's quiet, it's dark, and all of a sudden your mind has all this real estate to just start thinking about everything that you really don't need to be thinking about when you're laying in bed. But it's the time that you seem to do it, and then you stress about it, and all that seems to happen. So I decided to take 2 weeks off in a row. I've never done that. I wanted to see if I could get my mind to mentally rest. And all we did was, we played with the kids, and it was almost like I didn't have. It seems backwards because we were kind of so busy, not doing anything crazy, just going to the pool, playing with the kids, going to the beach, going to the aquarium. But it was like I was just kind of there reacting to the moment, and I didn't think about everything that I had to think about. And so I actually kind of rested mentally, which was really cool. I was super excited to come back, but I rested. And we have to answer the question, why is rest so important? And really, I just want to talk about one big reason, because God rested. Like, God created the entire universe in a 6-day period, but it makes sure to tell us that he rested. And if rest is important enough to him, it should be important enough to us. I mean, we don't have the power to create a universe. We're not all powerful. And if the all-powerful God rested, we ourselves should probably rest. But even if you don't consider yourself a Christian, a believer, there is a mountain of evidence that says rest is important. It just is. The data shows, in fact, if you just Google why is resting so important, I mean, you can see article after article after article. I'm not even going to link to it because you can do that research on your own. You can find that. And there are physical benefits to rest, but there's also very strong link to the mental benefits of rest. So understand, though, that rest looks different for everybody. For some people, it's resting being by themselves. For other people, it means being around other people. In fact, I did like a 4-day solo camping trip by myself several years ago. And I went by myself, and it was like the least restful thing I've ever done. Now, I needed to do it, and it was good. I needed that discipline, but it wasn't exactly restful. Now, if I'd had a friend with me, or if I'd had my wife with me, or one of my kids with me, that would have been way more restful because I just enjoy having conversations with people, and it's relaxing. There's a difference kind of between physical rest and that state of relaxation, that state of just kind of letting go and resting your mind as well. And again, everybody does it differently. For some people, it's working out, is resting mentally, like they need to do that. And if they don't, they get fatigued, which sounds backwards. But for some people, it's hiking, it's being in nature, it's being around people, it's reading a book, it's listening to music, it's playing music, it's whatever it is. Everybody's different, and so we can't always put our idea of rest and relaxation on the people around us, especially in our families or in the organizations that we lead, because a lot of times we can go, well, you're not doing this right. Well, no, I'm just not doing it the way you would do it. I'm doing it the way I would do it. We don't need a lot of convincing to understand like why rest is important. I think we all know, we just struggle to do it. So I think talking about the effects of a lack of rest might be a little bit more motivating for us to find rest than just talking about why we need rest. Because what will happen if we don't rest is this thing called burnout. It just happens. And burnout manifests itself in a lot of different ways. For some people, it's kind of withdrawing. And that's kind of one of my things sometimes. I tend to withdraw. I don't want to engage in conversations, which isn't like me at all. But when I'm kind of burnt out, when I'm unrested, I withdraw and I just kind of zone out. I can just stare into space at nothing for a long time. So for some people, that's that. For some people, it manifests itself in some mental health issues. And that's a reality that we really have to talk about. In fact, on this channel, we're going to talk about mental health issues and hopefully be able to do some interviews of some people that can really help us get some traction in this area because it's really that important. For some people, it's physical signs. Losing weight, gaining weight. For others, it's outbursts. All of a sudden, this person is just having these outbursts. For me, that happens too, whether it's anger or emotionalism or whatever it is. And for some, it's doing things you thought you'd never do. You find yourself in places you thought you'd never find. You're going down roads that you never wanted to go down, whether it's, and specifically in the area of sin. It's almost like you're going to self-sabotage in order to force yourself to get the rest because something subconsciously tells you need this, and if I do this, I will be removed from everything that I have under my leadership, and then I'll get the rest, when we could just choose to take the rest. So I'm trying to keep these videos short, so all I want to do is kind of give a recommendation today. In fact, I want to recommend this book right here, Didn't See It Coming by Carey Nieuwhof. This is an amazing book, and it is geared more towards probably ministry leaders, but it's good for everybody who you lead in your home, you lead at work, you lead in ministry, you're leading as a student. And it's Didn't See It Coming, Overcoming the 7 Greatest Challenges That No One Expects and Everyone Experiences. You ever have one of those books you just can't put down? That was this for me. I could not put this book down. Got through it in a couple days because it's that good. He kind of just shares his story of his burnout and what happened and how that transpired and how he kind of found his way out of it, because that's the thing there. There is hope out of that. And so I want to encourage you, pick this book up, read it, and let me know what you think of it, because it was super helpful for us. In fact, me and a group of guys were going camping in July. We're all reading this book beforehand, and while we're camping, this is like what we're going to discuss, because we're all leading in different areas, and it's something that we really have to have on our radars. So pick the book up. Let me know what you think. In the comments below, what gives you rest? Because sometimes that will generate and spark some ideas with other people. So comment what gives you rest. What are maybe some seasons where you didn't rest and what happened, and maybe you want to share your story that way, because that can be a really helpful practice as well. So make sure you're resting. Make sure you're allowing other people to hold you accountable to that. Luckily, we have a really good team here, and we kind of hold each other accountable to that. And make sure you have somebody in your life that can do that. Someone that knows the signs, someone that knows, hey, something's out of sorts. You don't seem like yourself. What's going on? And be willing to listen to that and not get defensive and not get mad about it, because that is that's kind of what we want to do naturally. So fight that natural urge to get defensive. And just commit to I'm going to find rest in my life, because I want longevity and I want health, physical, mental, emotional, all those things. So thanks so much for hanging out for the duration of this video. Hopefully next week we'll have a new video on life in between. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, and comment below. All right, guys, thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next week.